You might have already seen a video where I got a few things out of a house of somebody that died recently, where I live. I was there again, and I got some more stuff, and I was there with a friend, and a friend of mine even got some great stuff. And this time we actually paid something because there was so much great stuff. Starting with this, it's just a little speaker, not much, but pretty practical for testing stuff, and if you have the right speaker not in hand, this thing is always good just for testing stuff. And then I got a lot of those boxes full of parts, and those are not all of them. There is another one right here with a bunch of those resistors. And let's see, what do we have? We have some foil capacitors here, and some of, yeah, those are all foil capacitors. We have those headphone jacks and the fitting plugs, those jacks and the fitting plugs. I never had such things before. Then we have those potentiometers. If I'm not mistaken, they all have the same value. Sadly, most of them are frozen, and I'm honestly not very keen on opening them and trying to repair them. But maybe that's stuff for a future project. I mean, why not? Then there are those switches. There are a bunch of them. Some of them are broken. But I'm especially happy to see those because they use a little key to turn them, which is always kind of cool to see, in my opinion. Next we have more capacitors, but those are special capacitors. They look like this, and they are called Styroflex. If I'm not mistaken, those are German exclusive, and if I'm remembering it correctly, they were manufactured from the early 50s until the late 60s. And those are a combination of ceramic and foil, and usually they are still perfectly fine and usable today, but it is always recommended testing them just to be sure. Next on the list we have those transistors. Those are all high efficiency transistors, or at least most of them. Stuff like this, probably for amplifiers or so. Then we have more foil capacitors right here, and some more foil capacitors right here. Most of them are those from Philips, and normally they are still good today and usable, but again, those are 56 to 60 years old, and it is recommended testing them before building them into your device. And if you thought that's already it, oh no, it isn't. More parts in here. Those ceramic capacitors, more transistors, as well as some, those are diodes, yeah, there are a bunch of diodes in there. Just some random crap, but I just took it mostly because of the transistors. And then I got more tubes in here. Those are all rectifier tubes. And then there is this DY802. I can't remember the equal American tube, but this is a high voltage rectifier. And then I got 6 of those tubes, those Russian tubes. They look like this. Again, 5 in here, and I got this one as well. I found this in there as well, and I didn't even realize I took them. I just saw, oh, tubes, yeah, let's take it, without actually thinking about if I need that. But those are apparently G50 or GU50 tubes, and those are high voltage transmitter tubes, and They are extremely popular in radio stations. I mean, I have them. Maybe I build my own radio station one day. Why not? They look like this. This tube is ancient. There is no modern label on it. Yeah, especially if you see the pins are down there, I'm fairly sure this is a rectifier tube. And I mean, it's great to have them because they look like new and they are probably still as good as possible. But sadly, those rectifier tubes are pretty bad at rectifying, so it's not recommended to use them, and I prefer switching them for a solid state rectifier combined with a resistor. And then I got 3 of those narrow box PCs. Those are those mini PCs. I can take out one of them, I guess. They look like this. They are by CSL Computers, a German manufacturer, but I guess they are just taking them and printing their own logo on them. They are not particularly great, but Bluetooth and USB or so. 4 gigs of RAM is pretty low. And also 32 gigabytes SSD. That's also not very much. Those 3 will be stuff for future videos. Or one future video, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss them. And then we got this, which is definitely a module, and we are pretty sure those are tiny little Nixie tubes, which would mean this is from out of a calculator, we think. This is actually the board that displays everything, and yeah, the remaining parts of the calculator are missing, so this is basically just trash or so, or maybe we could desolder those Nixie tubes. I just wanted to talk a moment about what the good friend of me actually got, because he was also very lucky, and yeah, one of those things is right in front of me. This one, most of you might not know what that is, which is definitely not surprising. This is a Dragon 32, which is a computer manufactured in Wales in the early 80s, if I remember it correctly. Those are very, very rare, and yeah, finding one in Germany is like winning the lottery, basically. And what can I say? We found just 4 of them. I'm not lying. I will show you a photo. Sadly, there is no enough space to show all 4 of them, but I will make a photo showing all 4. And this is just unbelievable rare. This is one of them. And then this is another one. This is in a little bit worse shape, but we can actually see he used this one. He added this power supply, or just for 5 volts and ground. I think they are for into the device. Maybe this is to power the whole thing, because the Dragon uses a very weird power supply with a very weird connection. Or maybe this is just to power this additional board here. And most of the stuff is down here. And we are fairly sure he made this circuit board by himself. And as you see, there are 2 switches. One says off and on, and one says load and run, and we are fairly sure he used this to program ROMs on it and write it onto the chips. But that's not everything. We also found a Amiga 1000, which is very, very rare, and mid-80s computer, which was goddamn powerful for that time. And then we found a Revox A77, which is a tape recorder manufactured by Revox. Revox is a tape recorder manufacturer from Switzerland, and those Revox A77s are pretty rare, so they are expensive as well. The tape recorder we found was converted for studio use and has an adjustable speed, which makes it even more rare. And you can just search the internet for Revox A77 HS, which stands for high speed, because it has 38 centimeters a second, for even better sound. And again, this makes this thing just unbelievable rare. And yeah, this was very insane to find all in the same building. And obviously we paid something for those devices, because that's just unbelievable. Then we found an Atari, but if you already found a Revox A77 HS, a Amiga 1000 and 4 Dragon 32s in one house, it's just not surprising to find this Atari. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. As you see, there is quite a few stuff for future videos. So make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any future projects. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Leave a nice comment. Thanks for watching and have a good one.